Once you go flat, you can't go back.
Hi, I'm Dylan, and this is Not Exactly Normal. The name of the show comes from a quote from Tim Burton's 1990 Batman film, in which Vicky Vale says to Batman, "You're not exactly normal, are you?" To flat earthers, that statement couldn't be more. To which Batman replies, "It's not exactly more accurate. This week I'm in the great state normal world, is it?" And for the state of Colorado, the Sunshine State as a certain paper manager would call it, to attend the second annual Flat Earth International Conference. I, like many of you watching, grew up being taught that the Earth was spherical. We learned about the spinning of the globe, the curve of the horizon, and we saw, photos of the Earth taken by astronauts in outer space. Yet despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary, there's a burgeoning movement of flat Earth believers. Or trolls. I'm not really sure. Let's find out.
When you have somebody like NASA, employees on record saying it's Photoshop because it has to be.
That's Rick Hummer, the MC for the second annual Flat Earth International Conference, and like everybody here, he believes that the Earth is flat.
Everybody say these three words: I'm not ashamed.
The crazy thing is we've seen it my whole life. You've seen it your whole life. And if you've ever been to a lake shore, it's flat. The water's flat. Water's a natural level.
Yeah, I don't think that's the crazy part, Rick.
Promoting Santa, the New World Order, NASA,
I don't believe the Earth is round. Yes, we do.
and more.
And also, that's another thing too. Misconception is round. A penny's round.
Yes, everybody's
exception is they'll say these idiots don't
under this, in this conspiracy with them, and then you figure out it's not everybody's in a conspiracy with them. Everybody's the same spot as you were just before you just found out the information that you were at.
From what I've learned, the Flat Earth movement is all about skepticism. It's about questioning everything that you've been taught, which is something that I'm sure Globe Earth believers would support. Not that you should mention Globers around this crowd. So what is the Flat Earth model? Well, being such a young movement with members all around the world, there is some disagreement on the specifics. The most popular model supposes that the Earth kind of looks like the UN everything in.
So that's kind of the
map with a giant ice wall.
The idea when it comes to Antarctica, we believe,
formed by Antarctica that keeps...
It's more of the outer ring, and it's what keeps the oceans in.
The atmosphere is a dome, either physical or ethereal, and stars and planets are just points of light outside the dome. A core belief is that the employees of NASA are a bunch of liars.
We're going to go through where NASA came from and why I don't think that you should believe in them.
They're liars!
They film their scenes underwater in pools and then superimpose them using green screens to get them onto CGI spaceships.
You ever see astronauts floating with wires and wild hairspray sticking out?
They do it for a $51 million a day operating budget.
Yeah, it's actually 56. They just bumped it. Now it's 56 million, but yeah.
It's sloppy, as a lot of clues have been dug. Oh, 56. Sorry. Just up. Most notably, bubbles. Despite this large payday, NASA is apparently quite...
When I put hashtag NASA Lies into the reservoir that's already there, it's powerful content to show conclusive proof that NASA is a deceptive organization.
So why would anybody believe this? Well, evidence aside, for many flat earthers, it's largely religious.
I recently picked this up on Amazon, this interesting levitating, rotating, floating moon. About $20, pretty cool. Check it out. A self-illuminating moon, floating, no problem. And I continue to look on Amazon and elsewhere. I found this on YouTube. Now it says the sun, moon, and stars are put there for this levitating clock for time and for seasons. This is a big one. Pre-Genesis, the creation of the clock. Now, if we can make toys and novelty clocks with principle, I'm going to go out on a limb and suggest the absurd notion that it just may be possible that the Creator could have gone with something similar. Just call me crazy.
Deal. They believe that if the Earth is a globe, then the Big Bang Theory is accurate, which means that nothing created the world and there is no God. Whereas with the Flat Earth model, there is no scientific explanation besides there being an all-powerful creator who created the Earth and placed humans at the center of it.
I'm just seriously questioning the reality of what we've been taught, that we're a spinning ball flying through space, that nothing created everything. I mean, that's crazy, and then we're exploded and created everything. We're called crazy, and that people would rather believe, and that's what they teach. The truth in science, when they say that nothing, get right down to it, it's going to be right in your face. And you're either going to have to believe that God made you, and His Word is true, and He means what He says, or not.
He's the living water, he says. He lives now in and through me. I was a walking dead man. I was spiritually dead. I used to drink vodka for breakfast. Smoke cigarettes in the shower.
Crown Royal.
They view NASA as the creation of the devil, and it was through the devil that NASA was founded by Nazis, Freemasons, and Scientologists in order to convince the world that God doesn't exist. They don't believe that the Earth fits in with the heliocentric model of our solar system and is much smaller, and orbit in concentric. Instead, believe that we are the center of everything. Patterns, somewhat like the yin-yang. In their model, the sun and the moon are symbol. Many believe that space isn't real, and that satellites are just suspended from balloons. They also believe that the ISS is fake because 60 people died building the World Trade Center, and apparently nobody died building the ISS. Oh, and because there are a lot of documentaries about Hitler, but apparently none about the ISS. The first question I always ask conspiracy theorists about their respective conspiracy theories is, who's gaining from this? The answer in this case is NASA.
And it's not just NASA. It's the that whole perspective that is showing fakery.
Yeah.
Some of them don't know that they're lying because they're deceived, and they don't know that they're
operating budget as their motive. But
they're also deceivers.
They cite, I really don't think that's enough money to even cover NASA's $56 million a day for the cost of production. Not only would they have to fake literally every space event in the last 50 years, keep in mind that NASA supposedly runs every other country's space programs, but the conspiracy would have to be baked into so many other industries. Flying, for example. I've flown from here in Toronto to Japan across the Pacific. In the Flat Earth model, I could still go over the Pacific, but I would have to make a huge arc, when the faster method would be to fly right past the Arctic Circle. Their explanation?
Planes are not like driving a car, right?
Yeah.
So are they navigating from sight? Or are they navigating from equipment?
And they just run based on like GPS, which is owned by the U.S. military, by the way.
They're not actually knowing if they're going east or west.
Right.
The only
I mean, they're sitting there having naps or
thing that's telling them that is their
playing games because it's autopilot, right?
equipment.
Right.
Most planes, they're not even, it's running on a computerized system.
In order to back up these claims, they cherry-pick the information that best suits their narrative, and they ignore, ridicule, or claim falsity of any information that doesn't support their model. With that said, the movement is all about testing things for yourself.
So I actually took this spirit level onto an airplane, and I propped it on the tray table to where the bubble was centered. The bubble was centered pretty much the whole time. So the plane was flying level, as if it's flying over a flat plane.
It's about relying on your information, not information gathered by others. Yet,
there's not one person in here that is so intellectually strong that you wrote the programming on your own.
oh, okay.
To help unpack some of what we're looking here, the deception. So there is empirical evidence that people can look at. Wow, water doesn't stick to a stationary ball, and it certainly won't stick to a spinning ball.
Many of these DIY tests involve using water as a natural level.
I mean, who can't look and see that water's level?
Water exposes the global lie conclusively.
Placing things in water to see if they move.
When we look at the water on top of the car here, it's not moving. So watch what happens. Just bumping the car, and it'll stop later on. I just laid some heavy truth on you. What are you going to do with it?
Tracking the movements of wind chimes or far-off images. Seriously, and using the zoom of the Nikon P900 and P1000 to cap 1000, they would not stop talking about it. It really should be marketed as the Flat Earth camera.
Just get yourself like a Nikon P900 or even a Nikon P1000.
Yeah, this is the P1000. This is the P900.
Right. So like the P900 or the P1000.
I love it. How many P900 owners are in here? Yeah! Now the P1000's out. Wait till the P2200 comes out.
Let's take a look at one of their most common arguments. You can see really far.
You're getting into an idea of being able to see things that you shouldn't be able to see.
So, dude, I got kicked out of class as a kid because I said I could see across Lake Michigan.
But what they're actually seeing is an effect called Fata Morgana. It's essentially a mirage of landmarks. But if you don't understand the mirage that bends light across the horizon, physics, or don't trust the credentials of those and makes it appear like you're actually seeing for teaching you physics, I could understand not believing it.
Would you say that again?
But for me, there is only one piece of evidence that I need. The edge.
The edge is one of those topics people bring up. It's a red herring.
There is no falling off the edge because it's contained, right?
But if the Earth is flat, there must be an actual edge. So why can't I go there?
And while a lot of flat earthers would say that the whole flat earth theory is when it comes to Antarctica, that's a big mysterious part of this whole equation, like what truly is Antarctica.
What's to the edge? Well, they don't let us necessarily go there.
Now you got the Antarctica Treaty, where you got 40 countries that basically signed a deal.
It is they have a treaty that
say that only military
bans anybody,
and science can go there.
The problem with that is a normal person like you and myself to even go to Antarctica.
Well, what they've done is there's an Antarctic treaty.
And yes, you can take a guided tour there, but you need permission first. You know, I don't know if you've ever tried to go to Antarctica.
So even if you wanted to try to check it out, you're either with a group that's monitored and they take you to certain sections.
Can you afford to go there?
You can't just take a plane. You're going to have to get permission from the government. And once you get there, they'll allow you to take a picture of some penguins and they'll take you to a ceremonial pole.
But say I do get there. Can I fall off?
Well, it's the highest altitude.
Well, I mean, it's a 200 foot. And most places, I mean, it could be taller. I've never been there.
So the idea that you wouldn't be able to fall off because it's
jump off into space?
Wow, you know.
It's very high.
And once I'm on top of the...
if you could get there.
Well, we have big Game of Thrones wall. Couldn't I just planes? Planes fly at 40,000 feet?
Who gets to fly those planes?
That's the thing with arguing with a flat earther. There's always an explanation for their side, until there isn't. And when there isn't, it's not their fault.
One of the best things you can say sometimes is, I don't know.
And again, you brought up the azimuthal equidistant map. Again, I'm not even saying that's 100%. I don't know. That's the one thing, if you're trying to ask questions with flat earth people, like, okay, well, how does your model work? I would say, for me personally, I would never hold to any one model. I'm just seriously questioning the reality and what we've been taught.
If the world governments are keeping us from seeing the edge, I wanted to know if any of these flat earthers would be interested in going to space to see for themselves,
In Iraq, especially after everything that I've said.
if the world is a globe.
I mean, Mad Mike Hughes is the guy you should talk to. No, I wouldn't trust anybody to say, we'll put you...
This is Mad Mike, a 62-year-old daredevil and world's coolest former limousine driver.
This is my second rocket that I've launched. I've actually built 5. And this was just to prove that I could launch myself vertically in my own rocket that I built in my garage.
He does it to raise awareness about the flat earth movement, but his ultimate goal is to go to space.
How far did you get?
1,875 feet.
That's amazing.
It actually probably should have gone 2,500 feet up, which is close to half a mile.
Unfortunately for Mike, even if he makes it up all the way into space, apparently he won't be able to trust his own eyes.
Well, here's my problem, Mike, with that. I said, are you going to be wearing one of these NASA helmets? Well, obviously, you're going to be wearing a pressurized mask is curved. So I told him, I said, yeah, absolutely, I have to, obviously, right? I told him, this is all part of their design. You're going to get up there, and you're going to see this kind of view, because it does the same thing to everybody's view who wears a motorcycle helmet or anything that's got that kind of curved glass. So he said he's going to look into trying to make sure that before he goes up, he looks through and makes sure that there is no distortion. I hope so too. Otherwise, he can come back and say, oh, when I was up there, the Earth appears to be curved. Well, again, is it the glass or is it the Earth?
So they went from only being able to trust their own eyes to not being able to trust their own eyes. Great. This belief has made its way into the NBA, B.O.B. raps about it, but probably the biggest musical celebrity within the Flat Earth community closed out the conference.
One and only Flat Earth Man.
Well, I know it's already hard pill to take find it a little suspicious that you can't find any real satellite picture. No, it's hard to be believe, baby, will not be deceived. Satellite photos, just a little one of them, that's a joke. You can't find me a picture on satellite. Bringing out the photos of that TV.
That's Flat Earth Man, or conspiracy music guru, and I got to talk to him. Though
some people know me as the Flat Earth Man.
I was a bit surprised when I heard him speak.
I'm a Flat Earth Man. I created the character because my real name is Alex, but obviously I wanted to hide behind the character. Yeah. Because if I put myself out there, you know, my family's going to go, oh, you've lost the plot, you're crazy, blah, blah, blah. So I thought if I just put a hat on and some shades and, you know, just maybe start talking a little bit like that and blah, 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 then I can hide behind the character. Yeah. I'm a lot more comfortable with Flat Earth now, so I don't mind speaking about it to anybody, you know. Yeah.
All y'all watching is a puppet show, yeah. The whole world's a stage. Astronauts, they're just actors, of course, and yeah, and y'all get paid. Look at me, I'm floating in space, saying, no, you're not the light to the human race.
I was into conspiracies anyway, you know, bug, and I was just like, oh man, gravity's a... So I had an open mind, so I was more of a hoax, what bubbles in space, what receptive to it. And then after that, I got the harnesses and all of that, I went through that whole thing. And as a musician, it was like, I've got to make songs about this.
While I'm fairly certain that about 80% of flat earthers on the internet are trolls, everybody at this conference seemed like true believers. Well, except probably Logan Paul, who is here for some reason. I can't say that I left the conference a believer, but I made some friends, met some interesting characters, and hey, they just flat, what's the harm? Sure know how to party.
Maybe flat, y'all. Put that
Don't put it in, Michael.
So if they want to carry on thinking that the Earth is...
Don't.
Michael.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Sneaky.
This is definitely sneaky.
While you're watching this, Michael, I will fuck you.
One thing that I'm sure that everyone at this conference would agree on, other than the fact that the Earth isn't spherical, is that privacy is incredibly valuable. In this world where your online activities are being increasingly tracked, having a virtual private network is super helpful.
With Dashlane's VPN and digital identity app, you can encrypt your online activity and keep your personal information safe.
Which is great when you've spent the last month of your life researching the Flat Earth movement.
You can use Dashlane's VPN on an unlimited number of devices, and you'll get unlimited data use. Dashlane has a passion, but you. If you're still in the patented security architecture which encrypts Flat Earth Closet, with Dashlane, everything you do so that nobody can see your information will ever find out. Unless, of course, you post selfies like this to Instagram. With Dashlane's premium feature, you'll get a lot more than a VPN. Dashlane has made it way faster to secure all of my accounts, and I now use it to store all my passwords, payment info, personal information, mailing addresses, and much more. It can even automatically change passwords and search your email to find accounts that you forgot about, which is a total lifesaver. There's also unlimited syncing between devices, up to 1 gigabyte of secure file storage, and dark web monitoring, meaning that you'll get notified anytime any of your personal information is found on the dark web, which is great, especially after the recent Facebook and Marriott breach. Online security doesn't need to be inconvenient, or go to dashlane.com/normal, and Dashlane makes it super quick and easy to sign up and use the promo code NORMAL to get 10% up. Just follow the link in the description, % off your premium subscription.
What do you guys want me to talk about next? Please let me know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe for new episodes of Not Exactly Normal as often as I can make them. And if you'd like to help me fund ventures like this, where I drag my girlfriend to Colorado and hire cool people like Michael, who's holding the camera, to film me, I'd be greatly appreciative if you'd support me on Patreon. Thanks for watching.
Halloween is celebrated by Satanists, children sacrificing, blood drinking individuals, and unknowing participants with the distribution